Reminder that if you want to be exceptional, you're going to be different from everyone else. That's what makes you exceptional. You can't fit in and also be exceptional. Both have discomfort. When you fit in, you have internal conflict because you're not being 100% you. When you're exceptional, you have external conflict because everyone sees you as different. Pick one. When your friends start to say, "You've changed," remember it's because they don't know how to say, "You've grown."
I define words a lot because it helps me kind of like make sense of the world. And like exceptional it's like an obvious one, right? We use the word exceptional like you are not like everyone else. But even saying it like that, like you are not like everyone else. And so if someone says you're not like everyone else, then you can just reframe that as like I am exceptional. And that's not a bad thing. I actually think that most people have, like, this might be counter to most people's beliefs, but I think most people have the potential to be exceptional, because most people are peculiar in their own way. They just stifle that because they want to be accepted by most people, but in so doing, never accomplish what they want to do because they conform. And so, like, if there's probably a lot of things about the world or even your world around you that you're like, this never made sense to me, but then you do it anyways. And I think that a lot of innovation and a lot of what makes people exceptional is feeling, thinking that thought or seeing that thing and then being like, I don't think I'm going to follow that rule anymore. Like, why do I need to shower twice a day? Like, I don't know, like, why do I need to wear different clothing? Like, there's just a lot of these social norms that people, usually pass down to us, or they're, bred into us in high school and college and things like that. But it's like you see a guy who, wears a cowboy hat and dresses a certain way, and he basically wants to say, I am this archetype of person. But if cowboy boots aren't as comfortable for you as New Balances are, and you know that and you still wear cowboy boots, I would call you a fraud. Because like that is like it's like a micro rebellion against yourself.
Yeah.
It's like there is, and like I look at old people a lot because usually they don't give a shit anymore. They've just like given up. And there was a survey that they did where the number one reason that old people like don't have as much drama and they're happier is they cited they literally don't have time for it. Like literally they don't have time for it. And I found that so interesting. And it's like, well, if I'm going to eventually be that way when I'm 80, I might as well just start being that way now. And so they usually wear like really comfortable footwear, and like they keep their surroundings, like whatever weird peculiarities they have, they just accept them. And so I think a lot of if life is a long journey of self-acceptance, I think the earlier you can accept your own peculiarities as just part of you, rather than trying to justify them or mold to the archetype that you think is acceptable within your social circle. At least for me, like there's this period of discomfort when you change anything because everyone around you wants you to fit within a label that they are comfortable with.
But they also have the anchor of what you were before.
Yeah, exactly. And so they try and like people don't like that. So they're like, no, I like you in this box. So just say, I know you're having a little thing right now. Don't worry, just and they just want to shove you back into it. And there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations that you have to have where it becomes really socially awkward. And so like I said one the other day about like going home for the holidays, and the reason I don't like doing it is because often I have to confront a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time, and they'll speak to me in a way that I don't like. And before that I would roll it off like whatever, no big deal, but I don't accept that.
Didn't you torpedo a family holiday a couple of years ago?
Many.
Yeah, I think, but that's when your friends start to say you've changed, it's because they don't know how to say you've grown.
And because they see so few people who have, so it makes sense that they don't have that. So I see that as a lack of skill, not malice. Like, it's not that they're bad people, they just don't even know it because so few people do change.
Yeah.
So few people do grow.
Have you seen this image? It's a person whose heart and head are flowers. It's kind of a 2D drawing.
Okay.
It's a bit of a sketch.
Okay.
And they say, this person with the kind of smaller flower head and heart says, you've changed. Mm-hmm. And the person on the other side with this huge blooming thing says, I should hope so.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I see it in my head.
Yeah, it's brilliant. One of my friends, George Mack, told me this 5 years ago, I think. I'm astounded by how many people want to be spectacular in life but also want to be normal. By being normal, you are, by definition, aiming for average. Normal people get normal results. Exceptional people get exceptional results. You literally can't do what everyone else does and expect to not get what everyone else has got. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results.
Okay, so this comes down to everything that like business. I mean, obviously, I come from the business and investing world. Like, if everyone is jumping onto crypto, like by the time you have all the information to make a perfect decision, it's too late. And by the time you have consensus, where everyone's like, "That's a good investment," it probably isn't, because it's already been mispriced, because it's already inflated, and it's above what its intrinsic value is. And so, like, good investors fundamentally can think for themselves. And it's such an easy thing to say and such a hard thing to do. And so it's being able to say, if I shut myself in a room and I had to come up with a value for something and just use my own mind to come up with what I think this is worth, it's that answer that you get in a room, in isolation, with no internet connection, that you believe in that number more than every single other person's. And most people can't do that. But like that ability, and then what happens though is if you really have to believe in that rather than everyone else's, you double check your fucking math. Because if it is different than everyone else's, you have the that is what opportunity.
It's called advantage.
Right. It's like, and you have the potential to make a shitload of money or lose a ton of money because you didn't check your math. And so the more I've been reinforced for thinking independently, and in the beginning it's on small things, and then you just continue to reinforce that cycle of, I came to this conclusion on my own. It seems different than everyone else's, but I think my thing makes sense. So I'm going to do that.
How would you advise someone to overcome that regression to the mean, that pull to not make waves, to not be heterodox or non-typical when it comes to their decision making? Because it's hard. You're talking about this internal conflict versus external conflict. Yeah. How do you make the internal conflict more important than the external conflict?
For me, I was more miserable trying to make everyone else happy than I am now with everyone else unhappy with me. And so I think like from the social group that I had before I quit my job, if we're going all the way like ground zero to today, I talked to no one from that time in my life compared to today. And I was absolutely miserable and unhappy and unfulfilled. And I would say that the majority of those people probably don't like me today because I changed. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. He thinks he's so fancy now, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I'm just okay with that. And so I think coming to terms with the idea that I could be absolutely rejected by everyone I know, but like me, I was more okay with that because the alternative was I didn't want to live anymore. And so obviously there's degrees and there's continuums and there's stages of where people are at with that. But as that being the taken to its logical extreme, would I rather live for them than live for me? I would rather be hated by everyone and like myself.